Hello.
Hi, how are you? Who is this?
What's your favorite scary movie?
My favorite scary movie? Probably Five Nights at Freddy's.
No way. Mine too. What do you like about it?
I actually didn't like it at all. Welcome to Telly Talk, where we are talking about Five Nights at Freddy's, but this is a little quick episode. Just a little short
Quickie.
one.
It's time for a quickie.
No,
Woohoo.
don't say that.
Knife.
I'm Phone Guy.
I'm Matthew Lillard. Oh my god, we're both Matthew Lillard.
Hello.
Happy Halloween.
Welcome
we're
to Telly
in
Talk.
costume for you today because I'm wearing my Marshall Lee outfit as promised. I got the flannel. But then, in honor of, spoiler alert, the villain, of Five Nights at Freddy's movies, I'm wearing Ghostface mask.
Who plays Ghostface?
Matthew Lillard.
And I am, Magic Betty from Adventure Time.
It was good. I think every change they made to the lore made sense for translating
Yeah,
this
I
idea
totally
into a
understand
movie.
that. Like, I get that.
So I think some people are overreacting about the lore changes because it's like you have to make it a movie plot.
If they understood translating something that's not physically written down, like the lore is just like a huge cloud
It's
of
like
ideas.
a concept. Yeah.
And you have to narrow it down into like a linear plot, and that's so hard to do. He had to make certain decisions to make a functional plot line. Main complaint I have for this movie is that it's not made for the general audience. Like, anyone who doesn't know anything about FNAF can't go and watch this movie. They'll be so confused. They won't understand anything.
Hi, that's me.
Yeah, that's you.
I went with 3 people who are like hyper fixated for 5 years on Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah.
That's who I went to the movies with. So I survived, but I had questions throughout the movie, and some of the questions were answered in the movie, and some of them were not answered in the movie. It's like they tried to balance it. They changed some things from the lore to make it easier to understand from a general audience perspective, but also they still made it really difficult for a general audience to understand. And they tried to balance it.
They
and-
basically took the format of the games and then added the lore from the book trilogy, and then the book miniseries, and took that lore and put it into the game format, and then turned that into a movie. Which
It's not terrible.
the movie was fine. It was okay.
I think, like, given the task they had to do, they did a pretty good job turning the game and the lore into, like, a movie with a plot. Does that make sense?
Yeah. But I understand why they wrote it this way. Like, from a film student perspective, I understand that why they made Vanessa Afton's daughter instead of Mike. And like, William Afton, he's supposed to be Mike's dad, and, like, they're all supposed to be a family.
And, like, that guy, William Afton has, like, a different daughter that's not Vanessa, I was told by my friends. And, like, but that comes later or something.
Kinda. It's so complicated, because they took the game lore and then mix it with the book lore, but those are two separate things.
Yeah.
And then they took, like, bits from, like, the mini book series that he has out. There's, like, 12 books of just short
cool.
stories.
I didn't know that.
And he took, like, bits and pieces, like, mascots. My camera sucks ass today. He took, like, pieces from those books and put them in the movie as well. But essentially, the thing I don't like is that this movie took 8 years to come out because Scott Cawthon, the creator of this franchise, decided that he, like, didn't like any script or any director that approached him or wanted to buy his story, because he was so picky about it. And then he finally landed at Blumhouse and was like, yes, these are the people I want. And then the movie came out, and it's just so average. Like,
It's not as good as, like, the hype for it was, but it's not as bad as people are acting like it is. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Some people are acting like it's shit, and it's not shit.
It's not.
It's like, before it came out, I thought it was going to be better than it was.
Yeah. It's a fine movie. Like, it's not horrible. It's
I
good.
liked
enough.
I liked all the little details relating to the games in the movie. Like there was a lot of details relating to like the mini games, I was told. Like there was a mini game logo on a character's shirt.
Yeah.
And there were just a lot of tiny details in the movie that someone who is a fan of this can pick out. I feel like I need to preface, I have never interacted with these games. However, 2 years ago, randomly, I decided to go on Fandom Wiki and read the entire lore of every single game. And I spent like 2 hours reading the lore, and then I forgot about it because that was 2 years ago. And that's what I went into this movie with, is 2 years ago I read the lore on Fandom Wiki.
This movie, I don't like how they rushed through everything. So, like, the first game, you don't even know that there's children involved. It's like this one background picture that people found and were like, oh my god, children maybe? But immediately in the first, like, I don't know, 10 minutes, it's like, oh, there's children in the suits, they died and they're ghosts in the suits. And I was hoping that, like, they would
build
like,
it up more.
Yeah, where they're like, why are they moving? Like, how are they doing that?
I agree with that. I liked the movie. Like, I want to, like, say that there were little pieces that were confusing to me, but that's my own fault for not knowing anything about the franchise. But I was it was, like, 40 minutes in, and they're, like, building a fort with, like, the guys.
Fucking weird!
And I looked at my friends, and I went, is this just not a horror movie anymore? Like, they're all friends now. What's the plot gonna be? But then there was more plot. But yeah. I was like, why is it, like, cool now? My roommate that I went to the movie with, who's, like, really obsessed with Five Nights at Freddy's, told me that a lot of people on TikTok are mad about the fort building scene because they're like, the animatronics wouldn't be nice like that. But in my roommate's opinion, these are just kids who are scared and confused, and if they meet another kid, of course they're gonna play with them.
Yeah.
And I was confused because I don't know anything about the lore. I didn't know, like, a security guard killed them or whatever. Like, I didn't know who killed the kids. So I was like, why did they kill some people but not all people? Like, what makes them kill these specific people? And we had to break it down for me where if someone goes in and trashes the place, they'll be mad and kill them. And if they see a security guard, they'll be mad and kill them because they don't like security guards. Because the security guard killed them. And that was confusing to me because I was like, that's kind of overreactive. And they were like, Tyler, they're kids and they're confused and dead. And I was like, okay, you got me.
Yeah, so like, anyone who isn't a kid they don't like because they know that an adult killed them, but they don't know which adult killed them. And so any adult that goes into the pizzeria, they'll kill them. And
they were fine with Vanessa.
Well, Vanessa was friends with the kids when they were little.
Oh, when she was a kid. That makes so much sense.
So that's why Vanessa's like so buddy with them.
Okay, that's a slightly different thing than I understood. I interpreted it as they're fine with everyone unless they give them a reason to not like them, which is breaking shit or being a security guard. But that also makes sense. I'm understanding as we go.
I also don't like about the movie is that they rushed Springtrap. Oh, I'm so disappointed by Springtrap. I'm so disappointed by him.
It had to be explained to me that this was made in, like, the 60s, and that's why it was so bad. Because they were like, it's supposed to keep you safe. And I'm looking at it, and I'm like, how is that supposed to keep you safe? And I was confused about just the existence of why they would make an animatronic that's also a suit instead of making an animatronic and then making a separate suit to wear. I was like, why wouldn't he just make two separate things? And they were just like, because he wanted to. And I was like, but he could just have an animatronic bear and then also have a suit bear and just wear them separately. But I think I'm just overthinking it.
No, I totally get it. I get it.
You get why it was confusing, right?
I think it was just to save money because this was just a family-owned restaurant and
that makes
buying
sense.
multiple suits would be expensive. I wish this movie was so much more gorier. Like, Scott Cawthon said he wasn't holding back and that this movie was going to be scary. I was scared by Okay, the
There
scariest...
was one jump scare with the little clown guy on the
Yeah,
shelf the second
it wasn't
time.
the second time. Yeah.
I jumped. That was the
That
only
one
time
got
I jumped
me.
the whole movie. My friends jumped the first time, but it didn't get me. But the second time it got me.
The
I
first...
like that we agree.
The first jump scare, the edit was so weird. Like, it looked like the editor forgot to... He, like, went to change the reaction shot, but forgot to cut out, like, the old take that he was using. So that was, like... It was, like, a flash of, like, a different angle that was, like, not supposed to definitely not be there.
Another thing I didn't understand that had to be kind of explained to me was... Based off of what I knew about Five Nights at Freddy's, like, I knew the kids and their spirits were in the animatronics, right? Like, that's something I knew. But I was confused by, like, the ghosts existing separate from the animatronic. Like, I didn't understand that they could be separate. I didn't think so. Like, it had to be explained to me that this wasn't a thing in the games, but for the sake of the movie, that's how they were doing it. And because I was really confused by, like, the laws of the ghost kids.
Yeah, that's not like in the games, it's like their spirit/remnant is binded to the suit with their body and they can't like move around. Like, that's weird.
I think the reason it wasn't crazy, scary, and gory is because they wanted to make it PG-13 so that a younger audience could still see it, so they couldn't make it.
They can see it when they're older. They can see it when they're older.
They want this movie to be watched by 15-year-olds. They don't want you to have to wait till you're 18 to see this movie. I wish there was more. As someone who doesn't know a lot about the games, I was sad that they did the whole like phone call bit with how to work the cameras and everything, and then barely used the cameras after that. I was like, yay, cameras! And I was excited to utilize the cameras in the plot, and they didn't do it very much.
When he like sat down at his job, he was like, oh, cameras, click, 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 and that was the last time. That was like the first, like, I don't know, 30 minutes. He clicked, and then that was it. He never, every time he heard a noise or something, he didn't check the cameras. He just got up and went. And the whole point of the game is that you're stuck in your office. And I get like,
I was confused why he kept leaving the office. And
yeah, I was like, dude, why would you? You're such a white person in this movie. Like, you don't go and investigate. You have a set of security cameras right in front of you. Look at them.
The way that he like cleaned the whole place and nothing happened to him.
Yeah, that was also weird. I don't like that they showed the animatronics moving. Like, in the games, they teleport, which is understandable. But I don't like that they showed them doing, like, other than walking, I don't like what they did. Like, when there was, like, a scene where Bonnie and Chica were standing in front of a camera, and Chica had, like, the cupcake in her hand, and she, like, bent over and put the cupcake in. That was weird to see. That was so weird.
I liked watching the really speedy one run, though. That was fun.
See, but that's a thing you see in the games as well, where Foxy runs down the hallway. That's a thing that happens in the games.
I like watching Foxy run. The cupcake made me really happy.
The
cupcake
is weird because in like the first, the cupcake doesn't really do anything in the games. Like, kind of a little bit, it's implied like, oh, it moves, and but like also like, how does the cupcake move? I think that's why they made the ghost thing, because they made Chica's ghost get in the cupcake or something, because the cupcake would have to have its own child.
What were the animatronics in the movie that had children in them?
Bonnie the bunny, Chica the chicken, Freddy the brown bear,
and then Golden Freddy.
Golden Freddy, you don't see his animatronic until you only see Golden Freddy when it's in the house. Who murders the aunt. And then there's Foxy.
Okay. That makes sense.
And then you see these, I think, like 3 other suits. Where there's like the dog, which is from the book miniseries. You see this doll, creepy doll thing, which a lot of people thought was Baby. It could be implying as Baby, but it's more of in relation to this doll from the book trilogy and the miniseries. And you see Shadow Freddy, which is like a secret Easter egg Freddy from 1 and 2. Not 1, I think 2 of the games. I like to think that the doll was Baby because in the game lore, William Afton, his daughter gets eaten by this baby, like Circus Baby, and she becomes Circus Baby, and that's kind of like Mike's little sister. So Mike's little sister becomes Baby.
Oh, that was what was happening.
And that's what I like to think
there.
that was going to be. Like, they were gonna make her into Baby, but everyone's like, no, it's the doll from the books. And I'm like, but, like, it could be implying Circus Baby
I like
as
your
well.
theory. I wish I could theorize more with you on this, but I don't know shit.
Watch all the Matt Pat lore. Watch it all.
That's
Just
what they
watch it.
told me, but then they told me Matt Pat was wrong a lot.
He
would
is.
make theories like, yeah, so why am I going to waste my time watching Matt
You
Pat
just
make
have to
wrong
watch,
theories?
like, the most recent ones.
Okay. Did you like Matt Pat being in the movie? Did you like
Okay,
his little...
Matt Pat jump scared me the most out of every
I
scare.
knew he was going to be there.
Me
but
too.
When he appeared on screen, all my friends looked at each other like, is that Matt Pat? And then he went, that's just a theory. And they made him, like, extra gay. It was
Oh yeah,
a
he
jump
was so
scare. Why
fruity.
They made him extra fruity with fruit on top.
With a cherry on top, man. From Fruity Sprinkles. That was the first thing in the movie to jump scare me, like, actually, because you
Apparently,
heard his
Matt
voice.
Pat's scene was the first scene they filmed. That's what I was told.
Really? Like, you heard his voice before you
And
saw him?
I watched his videos and I know what his voice sounds like, but I didn't clock it because it sounded extra gay. And I was like, oh, it's a fruity little waiter. And then I
Yeah.
look up and it's Matt Pat. And I was like,
Yeah.
this is his scene? The plot with, like, the little brother and, like, his little trauma response and, like, the way he would go back in the dreams, I really liked that plot line.
I thought it was cool, but I think it was too much. It was just...
I think it tied him to the plot well, instead of it just being, like, where he didn't matter. Like, they wanted to make it so that he mattered as a character, not that it could be anyone as the character, I think is why they included that. Which I guess you could argue the point of the game is that you're the security guard, so they should have made the main character someone that could be anyone.
Yeah.
But they wanted to make it specifically so it was like, this is why this is the guy who's the main character. Like, they
Yeah.
wanted to tie him to the plot.
Yeah.
And
I just feel like...
I think they did it well, if they were going to go that route.
I just feel like the main focus was the little brother and not Five Nights at Freddy's.
Do you think the brother will come up again in a later movie?
Yes.
Because they made I think so. So maybe he'll...
I think they're gonna make the
connect.
little brother into the puppet, which first off, the puppet's supposed to be a girl. So
Let the puppet be transgender, God.
my final critique is that I wish the Springtraps scene where he was being impaled.
You want it to be gorier and drawn
I wanted-
out. Emphasized.
It doesn't it didn't have to be gorier. I just wanted him to, like, I don't know, scream more. Because he was just like,
More
ah.
emphasis on it instead of just like, cheek,
Ooh.
ah.
And I was like,
I
no, you gotta be like, you're being
I can get
impaled.
behind
Like, be like, oh, like,
It just looked like a
ugh.
little stab, but not like a complete
It's like-
impale. So I agree with you.
Like, you're being stabbed in the lung. Like, get the breath taken out of you, man. Like, be like, be like,
God damn, man. Get
and like choke
stabbed
on your
more.
blood, and like fall, be like, and instead of being like,
I knew
ooh.
Matthew Lillard was in the movie, but I didn't recognize him at first because he looked so different than in Scooby-Doo and in Scream.
Well,
because,
yeah.
you know, he aged 30 years, but the facial hair and the haircut
Yeah.
really threw me off, and I was like, that's him? But I knew he was gonna be... I didn't know who the bad guy was, because I don't know anything about this, but I knew, based off of the initial interaction with him, that he was gonna be the bad guy.
Of
Like,
course.
the vibes were there.
He was a prominent. He was shown as a prominent character, but he was only in like 2 minutes in the beginning, and you're like, never see him again. But you're like, that guy's important. So obviously he's the fucking villain. Like, of course he is.
And then I like that he hired the guy because... Ooh, I'm spitting out the cloak. Ah. I like that he hired the guy because he saw the last name and saw that it was his brother, and then
That
was
was so. They were
I
so
wanna kill you
obvious
too.
about some things. Like the entire movie, Vanessa was like, "Oh, I didn't tell you
I
about this
know
super
something."
important aspect about Five Nights at Freddy's." And oh my god, I totally forgot to tell you about the dead. Oh my god. You know, I totally forgot to tell you that my dad is the fucking guy who killed your goddamn brother. Oh, I knew everything the entire time, and I'm just standing here like...
The part where he was like, the owner keeps it around because he's sentimental. I was like, oh, you're the owner.
I
Like,
fucking
that's how I went about it. I was like, oh, you're sentimental. That's why you keep it around.
Yeah. I was like, oh, okay, you're Afton. I got that. I hated Vanessa. I fucking hated her. I hated her.
I liked her sometimes and hated her other times. It was weird because some of her scenes I liked her in, but then I hated how she would just not explain anything and then get mad at him.
Her turnaround was so weird because she like built the
Right?
fort and was like, I'm happy and I love this. And then when they left the building, she's like, if you bring your little
Never
sister
come
back, I'm
back,
gonna
I'm
fucking
gonna
shoot
shoot
you.
you.
I'm like, you were just so happy building the fort with your old buddies. Like, what is this? Like, what is happening?
Can we talk about how great of a job Josh did as the main character, though?
Oh, he
Because
was
a lot
great.
of people were so confused that they cast him as the guy. Like, people were like, I don't see it. A lot of people were confused about it. And he did phenomenal.
He did great.
He did incredible in that role.
I'm not gonna lie, the writing sucked ass. Like, I could write a movie better than that.
I also didn't like some of the writing. The set, I liked like the way the sets looked. They made a very good movie out of a very mid script.
Yes. The sentences that they were given were horrible, and they did the best they could. If they made it gorier and they had an actually good script, this would be an amazing movie. But right now, it's just
Yeah.
sitting at pretty okay. Good. It's
Like,
sitting at average
it's-
good.
Yeah, it's a good movie, but it could have been a great movie if they did a little more things. But with what they had, I'm impressed with the movie they made. I was confused about the Max girl being like their little friend babysitter and then randomly like working against them. Like, I was like, why is she at lunch with the evil aunt? And the aunt was a goddamn bitch. Oh my god. I was like, I hope she dies, and then she died. And I was like, yay.
They never address the aunt. They never address her being dead. Like, Golden Freddy kills
They get
her.
home and she's dead.
No, they
No,
get...
oh my god, I made a joke in the theater because the teacher was like, whatever you've been doing the last couple weeks, it's been working. She's had a major turnaround. And I was like, yeah, killed her aunt.
Yeah, and they never address that. They're like, she's doing great. And Mike's like, yeah, we're doing great. I'm like, your aunt, what
They
happened
didn't like
to her?
your aunt, you know? She's trying to steal the kid. Now they're happy.
The thing I liked is that I'd say the only scary part of this movie was Springtrap's introduction. Like, him coming around the corner and all you could see was white eyes, and then he comes out and he's like 7 feet tall, and you're just like... And Mike's like, oh my god, that was terrible. I was actually scared in that moment. I was like, wow, that was a really good entrance. Like, that was really good. Everything else, horrible. But that entrance was beautiful.
I really liked the part where he's like in the dream and the kid is like, you can have this dream every night if you give us your little sister. And he's like, sure. And I was in the theater like, you are going to give up your real, alive little sister that you take care of to not have your brother back, but just have a dream where he's alive every night? That's your trade you're gonna make? Like, I was flabbergasted. And then he was like, no, this is wrong. And I was like, yeah, that's my main character.
I feel like it took him too long, because he, like, sat there with his new family for a little bit, and then he was like, wait, no, I don't want this. And he was like, I changed my mind, and I'm like, it's too late, sorry. Oh my god, what's happening?
I feel like he should have lied about it. Like, he should have, because they, like, got mad at him
Oh my god!
because they realized Hello? They got mad at him because they realized that he wasn't wanting the deal. I feel like he should have lied and pretended he was good with the deal, but then fought them.
I love the set deck. Like, the aesthetic and the style they went for was beautiful.
That's what I meant. Like, I really liked the design of the movie.
Yes, like,
Design, good. Acting, good. Writing,
horrible. Really bad.
What are you gonna rate this movie?
I'll give it a solid 3 out of 5.
I give it a 3.7. I liked it. I would watch it again. Writing was shit.
I wouldn't watch it again.
This was fun. I liked the vibe. I liked the acting. I liked the actors. I liked the characters. I liked the plot. And I just have to ignore the writing a little bit for the sake of the vibes.
if they made it gorier and the writing was better and they fixed the animatronics a bit, like didn't show them visibly moving, I would
Yeah,
have liked it
it was-
better. Bye, guys!